Hey everyone, welcome to the Gemini new moon reading. I can't believe we're through halfway through June. Like that's crazy. Halfway through June of 2023. Like I literally feel like the first half of this year didn't exist. Like I feel like everything is being rewritten really, really fast and in really weird ways. I don't know. Welcome to my new space. It's a little echoey. I apologize for the echo. I don't have any furniture in here yet. We're getting all of my office stuff out of storage tomorrow. So I'll have like my microphone back and everything. I'll have everything back. It'll feel really good to have that. But um yeah, so we're in this new space and we're doing really well. For those of you that would like an update on how we're doing, it feels good to be able to relax. It feels good knowing that we're not going to have to move out of this space. It feels good knowing that we get to build our lives. And even though we were having to do it from scratch, and we're not the richest people in the world, like we don't have a lot of money, we're still, I mean, it's a good feeling, like we're not settling, and like it's great. It's just a good feeling to know that he and I, my partner and I, are both in like such a good place that there's no rush. Like this is our life that we're building together, so why are we going to rush it? And I think, in Gemini season, that's a really good thing to remember, is to not rush your life, like not rush things. Gemini season seems to just fly right by, and especially now since Mercury is in Gemini. Mercury's only going to be in Gemini for 2 weeks. But yeah, it's, everything is really fast paced. It literally feels like I wake up in the morning. Like I usually probably wake up around 8 o'clock these days. And it feels like 30 minutes, 4 hours have gone by and I've done like nothing. So, yeah, it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time. And I feel like things are happening really, really fast. So slowing down and doing things with intention is probably a super idea right now, and not allowing yourself to like skip all of the steps, like it's very easy to skip steps right now. It's very easy to try and like take shortcuts. I don't know how many times I've tried to take shortcuts in my life. Like that's how Gemini sabotage shit, because Geminis are really smart and they have this ingenuity that, a lot of the zodiac sign, some other like Scorpios, the opposite of Geminis, have the same kind of ingenuity. Or not the opposite of Sagittarius, the opposite of Geminis have the same kind of ingenuity. And so there's this need to always like find that fresh new thing and like do that. There's always like this these learning opportunities. If a Gemini isn't learning, it's like they feel like they have no purpose. If a Gemini is not constantly learning something new, like their environment, it's very, very Sagittarian, and third house, ninth house learning axes there, where we gather information. And this Gemini season is no different. We have Mercury flying through Gemini. We'll be in Cancer season by the time Mercury moves into Cancer. But it's just like everything is moving really, really fast. Just hours before we have this Gemini new moon, Saturn is going to go retrograde. So I think that that's going to slow things down a little bit. Let's take a look at, before I get to the chart, I don't want to forget to say this, but I still have 20% off my astrology and tarot readings on my website. That 20% off will be available until June 30th. People can even schedule with that 20% off in July if you want to, if you're not finding anything in June. I know that I still have some appointments available next week, and I still have some appointments available in the last week of June as well. So if you need some quick answers, you can get them like literally within a week's time. So take advantage of that 20% off. Use the code SPRING, SPRING 23 on my website. All of that is in the information description box below. Click that little arrow and it'll open up the whole description box and you'll see everything. My 6-month readings are sold out, but I do have all of my astrology readings, all of my tarot, the mindful guiding, the guided coaching. Like if you just need to, you know, like figure life out right now and you don't necessarily want a tarot reading or an astrology reading, you know, you just want some intuitive guidance, like there's many opportunities just to chat about stuff. So yeah, all of that is available on my website, fearlessintuition.net. Let's take a look at, here we go. Here's the Gemini new moon. So the Gemini new moon is happening this Saturday, June 17th at 10:36 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So it'll be 11:36 p.m. Central, 12:36 p.m. It'll be June 18th at 12:36 a.m. For East Coast time. So depending on where you are in the world, this new moon is going to be happening on the 18th of June or the 17th of June. Yeah, very, very interesting energies. I don't necessarily feel like, you know, sometimes we get new moons and they feel like full moons. This one, we will have square, the biggest thing here, square Neptune. The new moon is going to be square Neptune. And usually that gives us, like, this is going to be a great time to intuitively channel yourself, like get real spiritual with yourself, you guys, seriously. Saturn is retrograde in Pisces at this point. You can see that here. We're going inward with this new moon. What do you want your life to look like? What is it that you want to manifest into your life? One of the things that I have seriously learned through my spiritual journey, and mainly in the last year, to be quite honest, in the last year, manifesting anything into your life is literally just taking accountability and responsibility for your soul path. Taking accountability for yourself, taking accountability for the way that you want to live your life, and not expecting the world to show up for you. Because manifesting isn't about what other people can do for you or what the world can do for you or what all these things out here can do for you. Manifesting is about what you can do for yourself. Are you showing up? And this new moon is giving us a really big opportunity to go inward and to ask ourselves that question right there. Are you showing up for yourself? Are you showing up for your life? Are you showing up for your own responsibilities? Because that's the thing, like everybody's focused on what everybody else is doing. And we have this whole generation of people that believe that the world revolves around them. Like, I'm going to get serious about it. We have a whole, not even a generation, there's just a whole group of people who don't realize that they are not entitled to other people's, the way that other people live, the way that other people speak, the way that other people, you know, things like that. Like, it's very interesting how everybody is so worried about what other people are doing that we're not focusing enough on our own selves to even know who we are. Because there are a lot of confused people out here in the world, and that confusion is creating anger. You know, that confusion is pulling us away from love. And the more we judge other people, like, judgment pulls us away from love. Because if we were completely unconditionally loving ourselves, it's impossible to not unconditionally love someone else. No matter who they are, no matter what they look like, no matter what they're doing in their life, no matter what's happening. So this new moon will have this square to Neptune in Pisces. And this is really asking us in a big way to allow ourselves to go inward. It's going to be a more emotional day. It's going to be a more intuitive day. We're going to be really, really in touch with how we feel and really in touch with how other people are feeling as well. So there's not going to be a lot of physical and mental energy. Like I mean, if you have plans to run a marathon on this day, get some rest afterwards because you're going to be exhausted. That's going to be an exhausting time, I feel like. But there's a lot of goodness that's coming out of this new moon. There's a lot of possibilities, opportunities to be able to start fresh and start new. And you're getting this really great experience to go inward in order to do it. And like, that's where it all should start anyways. Like, that's I mean, people ask me what the meaning of life is all the time. And I'm like, well, you figure that out. What is the meaning of your life? Because everybody's meaning of life is going to be different. There is no one big general meaning of life. I think if we had to have an answer like that, I feel like it would just be to love. The meaning of life is to find that unconditional love, not the competitive. That's not love. Competition isn't love, competing with other people. The judgment of other people, you telling people, I'm only doing this because I love you. Like, no, you don't do something to harm someone else and then turn around and call it love. Like, that's something that we've all been raised to believe, right? That Hollywood push and pull and put the romantic dramedy push pull bullshit, right? There's this inner world that we kind of are programmed to forget about. Don't listen to your own intuition. Don't listen to your own gut instinct. Listen to what's going on outside of you. We have Pluto now also is retrograde in Capricorn. I'm sure that you've heard about this if you're following any other astrologers. Pluto's retrograde in Capricorn happened just a couple of days ago. And Pluto is now at 29 degrees. So all the Libra risings, the late degree Libra risings are going through this kind of like power play, power struggle sort of thing that's going on in their lives. And, that's the end of Gen X era, the Zennial era. So it's very much, there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of anger that's going on. The political races are starting to ramp up again, and we're hearing more. Like, I don't really watch a lot of TV. I watch just enough to kind of get ideas about what's going on in the world, but like, I don't watch a lot of the mundane stuff that's going on television that's happening in the reality out there, because I don't really connect with it too much. I like to know sort of what's going on, but I don't sit there and try and connect with it immensely. But I will say that there are plenty of reasons to be angry with existence right now, to be angry with this world right now. And so giving ourselves this opportunity to be able to go inward, to be able to change our own lives based on how we really want to feel and how we want to see it inside. This is going to be that time to do it, and you can speak it into existence, but the whole point of manifesting is the follow through, and the surrender, because you can do as much as you possibly can and take accountability and take responsibility, and it still doesn't show up for you. And you can get real angry about it, or you can choose not to suffer and just surrender it and be like, nope, I've done everything that I can. So now I'm just and man, that surrender is hard. That's like the really tough surrender. So we have this Jupiter square Saturn that is now retrograde. And so this is really giving us, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Jupiter is in Taurus. Saturn is in Pisces, and with this Saturn in Pisces retrograde, which happens about 12 hours before the new moon perfects, we're really reassessing the lessons that Saturn in Pisces has brought to us since March 7th, when Saturn entered Pisces. Really asking us to take a look at our inner growth. So the Saturn retrograde is going to be happening until November 4th. Then Saturn will turn direct, and we'll go back over those first 7 degrees that Saturn went over from March until now. And so we're really looking at what happened from March until now, wherever Saturn is sitting in your chart. So for example, for Libra risings, because I'm a Libra rising, so I can talk about this one pretty easily. Libra risings, your 6th house, you're paying attention to your health. When Saturn went into Pisces, immediately I went to see a podiatrist. If you don't have problems with your feet, Pisces rules the feet, by the way. If you don't have problems with your feet, take care of your feet. Buy new shoes for the summer. Make sure that you've got good arch system. Walk on the beach, like take yourself, get pedicures, stuff like that. There are certain, so, wherever Saturn is sitting in your chart, you want to learn the lessons of whatever that is. 6th house is about the health, right? So we really want to make sure that we're paying attention to our health. So whatever came up for you guys, just any of you, from March 7th until now, the rest of the year, that's what the rest of the year is going to look like. We're going to be reassessing the things that we looked at during that time and hoping to have grown. It's about the evolution, right? But it's an inner growth. It's like, are you taking care of yourself on the inside, in whatever way? It's almost as if we are recognizing through this Saturn in Pisces transit how worthy we are. What is that, that inner worthiness, not based on what's outside of us, but what's inside, that inner worthiness. And then we also have Mercury will be sextile Venus on this day as well. And Mercury sextile Venus makes us all sort of get along a little bit better. Mercury in Gemini, sextile Venus in Leo. With Venus in Leo, Venus is going to be in Leo until October. Venus will retrograde in July for a couple of months, and then will turn direct and will move into Virgo in October. Until then, Venus in Leo is really helping us to reinvent ourselves. It's helping us with our self-expression. It's helping us see how worthy we are. So with this new moon, really speaking that worth into existence, really speaking that worth into yourself, into existence, and speaking that worth into other people. We are not building each other up enough. We can tear each other down. It's really easy to tear each other down. But what are we doing to build each other up? So this new moon, in a lot of ways, can catapult our, the second half of this year and really create some happily ever afters. But it's, there are a lot of new moons that feel like they're full moons. And for some of us, it's going to be an emotional moon, kind of depending on where this moon falls in your chart, and what it's aspecting in your own chart, stuff like that. But this particular new moon in a general way is really asking all of us to go inward and to manifest our life based on how we feel about ourselves, and then speak it into existence in that positive way. So, yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a really good one. I'm kind of excited for this new moon. So, let's do some tarot. We're going to look at a Power of Surrender card first, to see what it is that we are surrendering. Always surrendering something, even if it's a new moon, we're still wanting to surrender to make space. Oh, love this. Surrender to receiving support and love. Surrender to receiving support and love. Allow the love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. Surrender to receiving support and love. I think a lot of us kind of need that support and love right now. So really like opening yourself up, and that's hard. Being vulnerable is one of the hardest things that humans are sort of tasked with doing. But being vulnerable is also one of the most rewarding things. I am using my Spellcaster's Tarot. Some of you I know are going to ask because these illustrations are awesome. I've been using this tarot for 7 years since the very beginning. It's one of my absolute favorites. So, okay, so we have the Hermit as the first card that came out. We have the Two of Cups. We have the Three of Wands. We have the Two of Pentacles, and we have the Hierophant. Okay. For some of you right now, you're kind of isolated, but I feel like, so here's the thing. It's so interesting. And I love telling this story. So I was on my own, like not really in relationships for about 2 years before my partner showed up in my life. And during that time, I could feel him. Like the more I focused on myself and the more that I loved myself and the more that I celebrated myself and like did all of those things that made me feel really good, the more that I did that, the more I could feel him coming towards me. And I feel like that's what's happening here. And when he showed up, I could recognize him. And what I mean by that is I had healed myself enough to be able to recognize genuine love as it was coming towards me. Because before that, I was too defensive. Like I wouldn't have recognized it because I was way too defensive. So being with myself and learning how to unconditionally, and it happened. There were so many things that happened, and then it happened even more after I met him. That unconditional love for myself, like just kept growing and growing and growing. I kept on going through certain situations and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like that's what's happening to someone here. I feel like either there's some of you are on this isolated journey right now, like you're a little bit isolated, but you can feel with this Three of Wands here, you can feel the energy, the soulmate kind of divine sort of energy coming at you. Like that's what this feels like to me. Because the Three of Wands is waiting for your ships to come in, but it's really like expanding your energy and like not having expectations of what's going to be showing up for you in that way, right? And the Hermit is very much someone who does their journey on their own, like they process emotions on their own and they kind of do that healing stuff. And I think that right now, during this time period for whoever, because this feels like a very specific reading, but this time period, you're learning how to be vulnerable enough to surrender to receiving support and love. And within that, you're also deciding what kind of relationship you actually want to be in. Like, what is this relationship? Two of Pentacles and the Hierophant. Like, you're trying to figure out your own belief systems. You're trying to figure out all of this. So for some of you, you've also been propositioned by someone, or you want to proposition someone. And you're kind of, the Two of Pentacles is like trying to figure out like what direction, like how do I want to, what road should I take? How do I want to approach this whole situation is sort of what that feels like. So let's clarify. Let's see this and clarify. the Hermit, Two of Cups, whoa, Three of Wands. Yeah, I think for some of you, you're like worried that this union or like it's never going to happen. But I mean, it is. There's just, like you really, there are ego battles and ego tantrums that you really have to kind of work your way through because, like, I don't know about you guys, but I was raised to be very defensive. I was raised to be a very defensive person. And so I had to like break my walls down. I had to be willing to allow the surrender, right? Like I had to break my walls down. I had to get rid of my anger. And I feel like that's sort of what you're doing. But the journey that you're on right now, so for some of you, you're dealing with a Virgo or a Taurus or a Libra. But the Six of Wands on the Hermit really makes me feel like this inner journey that you're taking right now is going to be very successful for you. Like there's really something about, there's really something about showing up for yourself. Like that's what the Six of Wands feels like here. Like you've shown up for yourself and, you're able to celebrate that, really celebrate that. The 10 of Cups on the 9 of Swords with the 2 of Cups. So the 10 of Cups, and this is the thing here, is that 10 of Cups is the ultimate happiness. That's like the happily ever after ending. And so flanking that 9 of Swords, the 2 of Cups and the 10 of Cups are flanking the 9 of Swords. So some of you are really, really anxious that you're never going to get your happily ever after. And see, here's the thing. The reason why you're thinking that is because you're looking at your life where you are in the present moment right here, and you're not allowing yourself to see what your happily ever after is already starting to look like. Like if you're not happy with your life in any way, shape, or form right now, then you got to start changing. You have to change the things in your environment. You have to change those things. And it's not about having the money to change it. It's about having the tenacity to change it. It's about allowing yourself to take the steps, because people can get very angry with me and be like, well, I can't change my life because I don't have any funds to change my life. I can't change but you can take every single excuse. You can blame your environment. You can blame the world. You can blame the way, you can blame anything, and you can make excuses for anything. And at the end of the day, it really comes down to you. And it comes down to like, if you believe that you deserve happily ever after, then you're going to go out and find it. If you don't feel like you deserve happily ever after right now, then it's time to learn how to unconditionally love yourself, like we were talking about before. It's not, and it's about, because that unconditionally loving yourself helps you to be motivated, because it's not fake. You can't fake unconditionally loving yourself. And when you do that, you have the motivation. You have the motivation to have a better life. When life has beat you down and beat you down and beat you down and beat you down, it is hard to find that motivation. It is hard to find that unconditional love. Trust me, life has beat me down. If I told my entire life story to people, and I do sometimes, they are shocked. They're like, wow. And you're still smiling? Yeah, still smiling. So you can either believe that it's possible to make things happen in your life, or you can sit and make all the excuses that you want. And because I blamed people, and the funny thing is it never felt right to blame other people. But at the same time, I'm like, who am I supposed to blame? Nobody. There's nobody to blame. It's just life. Life is fucking hard. Nobody said life was going to be easy. We just all assumed that it was going to be easy. On the 3 of Wands, so waiting for your ships to come in, we have the 9 of Cups and Justice. Okay. And this is where I love that justice came out here. So the Nine of Cups is the wish card. Really thinking outside of the box. Like this Three of Wands wants you to think outside of the box. This Three of Wands wants you to be free of any kind of restrictive energy whatsoever, so that whatever shows up for you, you're ready for. No expectations on it, right? And then Justice here. I love this deck because Justice has the Wheel of Fortune above her head. So when we find that balance and we find that justice, we also know that things are shifting. The last 3 months were a pain in the ass for my partner and I, huge pain in the ass. And I could have easily thought, man, is this like some kind of karma that I deserve in some way, shape, or form in my life? I mean, I'm a pretty damn good person. Like, I mean, I can say that proudly. Like, I am not a terrible person. I am not here to harm anybody. So I'm like, is this some kind of karma? And then the miracles started to happen. And the people showed up for us in so many ways. And we continue to see that. And like, thank you also for the support that you all have given as well during this very trying time. But that's how I knew that this was not a karmic lesson for me. I was being redirected because I was no longer supposed to be in that environment or location. And the redirections that happen in my life are very dramatic. And I sort of just have to accept that part of my life. So allowing yourself to accept things and see the blessings and the miracles that happen, and the roadblocks are as protection. You know what I mean? Like, I know that it's really hard in the moment. I know that it's really frustrating and life is not easy to get through. So allowing yourself to have a different perspective at what's happening in life right now, that and trusting those feelings inside of you. If you believe that you deserve a happily ever after, it is coming. It is coming. Trust me, it is coming. It is not going, you're not going to be in a frustrated position forever. The bottom of the deck has the Devil. So Saturn showing up in the reading. We have, okay, so instead of trying to figure out the way all the time and trying to use that logical mind consistently all the time, we have the Eight of Cups on the Two of Pentacles. That Eight of Cups is walking away from the things that you are emotionally attached to. That could be belief systems. Like, I feel like it's time for you to completely rewire the way that you think about relationships, the way that you think about the system, the way that you think about friendships, the way that you think about the world is supposed to, how the world is supposed to work. But there's a lot, instead of holding on to like, what do I do next? What do I do next? What do I do next? Just exist. Sometimes it's not about healing yourself. Sometimes it's not about having to go through the healing motions all the time. Sometimes it's just about existing and surrendering. We also have the Page of Wands on the Hierophant. So there's something, for some of you, you're hearing something from a Taurus. If you're a Taurus, I feel like you have a message for someone. It's up to you if you want to give it to them, but I feel like you connecting in some way, shape, or form with other people. This feels like community. This feels like getting together with community and connecting with people in society in a way. All right. I love you guys. This is going to be an interesting new moon. I really feel like there's a lot of we're all going to be sort of going into the inner world. So it'll be interesting. I love you. Take care of yourselves. Come get a reading with me. I need to buy a couch. So come get a reading. Come get a reading with me. And I have my eye on this really cool one. Just I need to buy a couch, so I love you guys. Bye.